Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Stampeding Dogs. It's been a long week, so apparently
Easy for you to say, buddy.
no, I don't know how to talk. I'm your host Aaron with my co-host JR.
What's up,
Ooh.
man?
Let's see,
Sorry.
man. It looks like you're having a long week too, because man, that was a long pause as well. So
No, I'm sore. I'm feeling, even though it was a shortened work week, Tuesday was a rough night.
yeah, yeah. My last 2 weeks of work have been long, but I think I finally got everything done that I needed to and be able to, you know, have a smooth next 2.5 weeks of work. So Um, again, welcome. This is going to be a short, brief kind of podcast, just due to the fact of we have the draft here coming up in I guess if I'm going to be exact, it's 4 hours. I was waiting for the clock to switch to 58, but we got almost 4 hours. And things are kind of heating up in a way of, a bunch of trade talks are happening, along with, as everybody know, Cunningham is going to be the number one pick. But on tap, what we have today, we have the Rodgers saga finally comes to a close. See ya, Caesar. And I'm want to know JR's honest opinion on who we should grab tonight at 3 or we trade down. I guess, with that being said, Jared, let's roll into it. Rodgers staying put in Green Bay. I've been saying, at the same time that I think that's where he'll stay for this year. And, looking at the contract that they updated, I believe it was Sunday, Monday morning, and he's staying put. I mean,
Yep.
at least for this year. I know they just went out and got Randall Cobb, which was one of his demands. But I don't know if you saw his press conference yesterday, but he gave management and ownership, meaning Rodgers, kind of gave him a new one.
Yeah. No, yeah, he really laid it all out there for everyone that was speculating what was going on. He basically said, "Screw it. I'm going to tell everyone everything," which I don't blame him either.
Mm.
Um, Unfortunately, I couldn't find the freaking like original video. There was one. It looked like it was like sped up at like 1.5 speed,
Ooh.
and so like it was going like really fast. Like I could barely catch what he was saying sometimes because I know he usually talks more deliberately, and in the video I saw, he was talking faster and up tempo, and I'm like, something seems off, and even like his body movement and everything seemed quick for standing at a press conference. And I could not find the original one, but I watched it and tried to retain as much as I could without being distracted by the sped up video.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it kind of breaks down, and we kind of talked to about, you know, I don't know where your thoughts were. I thought he was going to be a Bronco, but as this kind of progressed, I thought it was more of likely he was going to stay or retire. And we all know for a fact Rodgers isn't happy up there. And looking at and reading everything, it kind of amazed me on how long this marriage, per se, if you want to, has kind of blossomed. Because Favre, before Rodgers started, who's the backup for Favre, and there was drama even with Brett Favre before Rodgers was able to even take over. Take over, if everyone remembers Favre saying
Yep.
he was retiring. So Green Bay moved on, and then Favre said, "Wait a minute, I'm not done yet." Well, they already committed to Rodgers, and then Favre and management kind of were at odds, and then they shipped him over to the Jets. You know, again, this whole Rodgers thing and kind of just reading into, is what he's saying is, he was saying he didn't want to be a lame duck, quarterback, meaning he felt like, he had no voice with management on, for example, the personnel that was coming in, and also too another interesting quote was he says he likes LaFleur, but I guess They didn't ask him for his input on coach, which I thought that was interesting. Um, and the thing is, and I've been saying this too, it just didn't seem like when they drafted Jordan Love a few years ago that they weren't committed to Rodgers in the future, and that was his biggest thing. And another keynote is, I guess, this has been going on longer than what we all realize. But I guess they're having these conversations, and this past February. And on another note, with the whole Rodgers thing, is this: he kind of gave his, I guess, opinion because these certain players I'm about to name. I mean, unless he's speaking for them, we don't know for sure. So he was saying is he feels in these certain players, which I'm about to say, felt really disrespected on their way out of Green Bay. And he did say that he did contact them, but again, I'm not buddies with Aaron Rodgers, even though we share the same first name. Um, he listed Charles Woodson, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and James Jones, and he says some players who were not respected, lowballed, or not given a contract on the way out, which has been kind of the MO for Green Bay, anyways. Really, gosh, since 2013, 2014, you could say even a little sooner. I mean, I guess with the whole Rodgers thing is this, they restructured his contract. You know, if things aren't going the way it is at the end of next year, they're giving Rodgers like, hey, like we'll trade you. I guess with that being said, and what I'm about to say before I hand this to you is this. When Denver, well, I guess you can't even say when Denver was in the mix because I guess Green Bay never answered the phone. But when the reports were going out, it was going to be Denver or the Raiders. It made more sense to him to go to Denver because of the offensive line, the weapons, offense, defense, the whole 9 yards. I felt like Denver might have missed their window on this due to the fact of I don't know if Rodgers is going to like the 2022, 2023 players because Von Miller is a free agent. They have a bunch of other, you got Fuller who's going to be a free agent because he's only on a 1-year deal. You got Bryce Callahan is on his last deal. They have a lot of pieces that are on 1-year deals, and they got to figure out contract situations with Sutton and Chubb. Even though Patton said, they're the core players, but I think Denver missed their window. This roster next year, per se.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. That does make sense. A quarterback wants stability within the team, and if 3 or 4 players, core players, might not be on the team in 2 years, and he still wants to win now, he's looking at it like, well, if we are unable to fill these guys' shoes with equal or greater talent, why should I come there and play for you guys? So I can see why that could become a problem in acquiring him. But yeah, the one thing that really I don't want to say shocked me, it was when, like you mentioned last week, him and Devontae Adams both posted on their story the picture of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen shaking hands or whatever, doing a handshake. And then the contract talks between Adams and the Packers came to a halt. And I was like, okay, they post these almost to say, hey, we're in this together. And then there's talk of Rodgers might be retiring. Adams people are holding off contract talks with Green Bay. And I'm like it really confused me. So seeing him restructure his contract with Green Bay caught me off guard. That's a good way to put it. I wasn't shocked because I knew it would either be Green Bay or traded more than likely. it didn't shock me that he re-signed, but just with the messages last week and what was going on, it caught me off guard at this point in time. But I mean, that makes my season predictions for the Browns a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, and before I ask you, the final question on Rodgers is, going back to what you just said about the whole Scottie Pippen and Jordan, that was like their last ride type of thing. So when I'm
Maybe.
looking at this and I see this picture and what you're saying is this might be it. This might be the last ride between these guys. And I guess with that being said, is this Rodgers last year with Green Bay? Or do you see him retiring with Green Bay? Because me personally, I think this is it.
Yeah. So it's a big question, but it does look that way, like it will be his last year, whether um, whether he retires at the end of the year or goes to another team. Um, either either option, I don't see him staying in Green Bay past the end of this upcoming NFL season. Unfortunately, because he's given, I think he said in his press conference, 16 years.
Yeah.
And he's been the starter for 13 because the first 3 was Brett Favre still. But yeah, he's been there for 16 years. He's been the face of the franchise for 13. And I think I said this on one other episode when we were discussing him, and I'll just go over it a little bit about never drafting an offensive talent in the first round since he's been the starter there. And everyone wants to talk about how he's had weapons like Jordy Nelson and Adams and Jones. And I'm like, but they were already established. Like they're aging at the same time as him. They haven't gotten any new, younger talent to replace them or give him more than one option.
Yeah,
And
that's a good point.
you have, like, if you're gonna build for the future, you have to build your offense for the future. I understand some teams build to win now, but I mean, Kansas City is still relatively young as far as.
Yeah, I'm just more curious, and that's going to be another topic for another day. Kansas City's in an interesting situation because of the cap.
That's true too.
They paid all their key guys. Now it's going to be interesting on how long they can keep the band together. I personally think going into the 22-23 season, we will see Rodgers in a new uniform. Where, I don't know. I'm not even going to speculate because Green Bay was smart enough to hold on to him and not make him available because more teams can go after him next year and they could figure out, where he wants to go and what could be the better package. But yeah, I mean, at least that's done. It's over with. We got training camp. Brown, like I should say, everybody has gotten into it. With their training camps. Football season is around the corner because, as we do know, our beloved Indians are cooked. 50-49. As I said earlier, see Cesar. Cesar is gone. He did get traded today. He got traded to the White Sox for a pitching prospect named Connor Pickleton. I might have said his name wrong. So, I mean, I believe he is a double-A pitcher, I believe, as of right now. Another interesting thing was Nick Madrigal. He is out for the year for the White Sox. So the White Sox were looking for a second baseman. And, Cesar, there's a $6 million option for next year, but I don't think the White Sox are going to need him when Madrigal is fully healthy. But yeah, I mean, 50-49, 8.5 back. Chicago's actually losing right now 4-0 in Kansas City. And if you want to look in the wild card from the second spot, they are 5 back. It's going to be hard. I think the season is done. And then, we will kind of go into the off season of I guess the name change, I guess, is really it, and who's staying, who's going. We did say that the Indians were more than likely going to be sellers, and as for the big question I keep seeing is what about Jose? I think Jose is going to stay at least for another year, just because they need some, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? They need that name pop, that star pop to bring in the new name. So him, Bieber, it's I don't see Jose going maybe not until next year and end of next year. But yeah, she's just gone. We get more pitching. But as of right now, I'm ready for football, even though I already know I'm going to be disappointed this year. But I expect maybe a couple more players to be gone. But now is the time for Owen Miller to start playing. Jimenez, all these young guys to kind of figure out, who belongs here, who doesn't belong here, and really just get ready for next year. So I don't know what your thoughts are about the whole Caesar thing, but it's kind of bittersweet.
So I don't want to say we traded Caesar for a double-A pitcher because I know how good our farm system is at developing pitchers. What I think bugged me the most was there were 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 rounds in the MLB draft. And I believe I'm going through most of these. The Indians selected, I think, like 18 pitchers in the 20 rounds. Like, I mean, you could have.
It's like this. It's like you can never have enough two cornerbacks, for example, in football.
No.
And I mean, in baseball, as we're seeing, no Bieber, no Savale. Plesac is still trying to round into form. That's all we got. And McKenzie's probably still walking people as we speak. But I mean, it's to me, it didn't bug me. I was surprised they didn't, try to get, a couple outfielders here and there. But I mean, whatever. I mean, obviously they know what they're thinking, and they could develop these guys, or they could ship them out, to get other talent. But I mean, now when I mean they know what they're doing, I mean it's more the fact of they know how to develop their talent in the farm system.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about the Dolans. But I mean, we got apparently Owen Miller is now going to be our second baseman, and let's just see what can happen between now and until call-ups in September. I mean, it's the only thing. I mean, just let these young guys play. They get that experience and go from there.
You mean 0-10?
Pretty much, yeah.
that's I'm pretty sure he went like over 8 for his first few at bats.
But
everyone was saying, everyone was like, it's Miller time, and then he went like 0 for 5 in his first game, and I'm like, yeah, thank God for Miller time. I understand it's his first major league game, but take a walk or something. You can't go 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts.
Hey man, when you get up to the actual, I guess, pros, I guess in that situation, I guess your emotions are all over the place. I wouldn't know, obviously. I'm here, but I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. But I guess we'll see what type of team we have going into next year. And then speaking of young teams, let's go literally right next door. I mean, we're gonna go from the Indians to. I mean, JR's looking outside his window. He's probably enjoying the sun today. I'm enjoying the rain.
It may or may not have been up to 97 today.
Well, that's nice. I actually like that. Let's go next door to the Cavs.
Okay.
It's a big night. Trying to figure out who's it gonna be. Is Mobley the guy? And before I get into that, like I said, Cunningham is going to be the number one pick per Woj. And I also have been reading a few things, and I'm actually kind of curious on what JR is going to say. But first, before I even get into the Cavs, is this. The Lakers are in talks with Sacramento on a potential Buddy Hield, Kyle Kuzma, and apparently it's the most serious thing as of right now in the league. But also San Antonio is also interested in Kuzma, which, by the way, I wonder if it's going to be if Kuzma leaves. That I don't want to say LeBron's shadow, but there's a lot of pressure when you play with LeBron because LeBron's always about winning championships. So maybe he's just too young, I guess, to grasp that, and just go for it. But San Antonio is interested in him, and there's a possible sign and trade scenario with DeMar DeRozan that would send him to LA, which I think is kind of interesting. Me personally, I'd rather want Buddy Hield because he could stretch the floor, and then LeBron could kind of do his thing inside because DeMar DeRozan isn't really he's a terrific mid-range inside game type player, but his 3-point shooting isn't very good. The one thing I kind of want to hint at, and I'm kind of hoping this comes true, I've been looking into things, and according to Chris Fedor, of the Cleveland Plain Dealer, gosh, that was a mouthful. I was reading into this on the national media, and I was kind of looking into it, and I said, okay, like this makes sense if this is what they're trying to do regarding Colin Sexton. There's been reports about the Knicks being the serious, I guess contenders for the Colin Sexton sweepstakes because they don't know what they're going to do yet regarding the extension. But this is what's going down. And I'm not going to read the beginning of this. I'm going to read the ending. So Cleveland believes that they could get back into the top 10 by dangling a combination of Colin Sexton, Larry Nance Jr., and next year's 2022 first rounder. My thoughts is this. I love Nance. I absolutely love Nance. So it would be one of those things is if they were to get back into the top 10, looking at, the board that I kind of made a little bit, I would want them to be anywhere between, I guess, 7 and 8, because the one player I would have my eye on, if that would be the case, if he is somewhere still on the board, would be Jonathan Kuminga. He's a small forward, power forward, and he has so much potential. I look at him and I'm like, you can play defense. You can, your offensive game will eventually get there, hopefully. Just a great athlete. And that'd be one thing I would consider. But your thoughts on a possible, Colin Sexton, maybe Larry Nance, 22 first rounder, or maybe another player, that, no one's really thinking about possibly getting back into the top 10. I was just about to say, I think he's muted people. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I was muted. I forgot to turn the switch. No, I was gonna say, I don't know. I guess if they believe they can get back into the top 10, to go for it. Like, verify that you have at least an offer to get back into the top 10 before trading away 2 players and a first round draft pick for next season. Yeah, next season. I forgot what year it was.
2025.
Okay, I thought so. I just couldn't remember.
Got you.
Thanks, bro. But I mean, yeah, and I did have Kuminga as one of the options on our Twitter poll. Ooh.
That would be my dog.
Yeah, of course it is. He's using his big boy voice.
Or lack of, I guess. I don't know. But
yeah.
Go on.
So yeah, I mean, because if we're getting rid of, if we traded Nance, Kuminga's a forward. We still have Jared Allen. I mean, I really don't know what would be best because I know if we stay at 3, the mock pick is Evan Mobley, who's a 7-foot center. So I really don't know where we'd go from there.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I'll kind of get into this is if they're looking to get back into the top 10, I agree, just have an offer, but also to kind of have a plan of where you really think you're going to land at and kind of go from there cuz this draft, obviously you got Mobley, you have Green, you have Suggs, and then well, I can't even say Cade because Cade's off the board, but I mean, this draft is very, very deep. You could go get your guys that you need. Um, as for the Cavs, they do have the young pieces to kind of figure everything out. What I would say is if you get back in the top 10 and, for example, let's say for example they're at 10. I mean, you could possibly go get another shooter. You can go get a small forward in Moses Moody from Arkansas. It's just kind of figuring out what you really want, per se. But if they have a plan, they have a plan and try and go for it. I guess with that being said, from everything that I've read, and I guess I'll kind of go into what I think is going to happen outside of any trades is obviously Cade is going 1. Green is going 2. There's no doubt in my mind unless Houston gets an overwhelming offer. I think Green is 2. You can line him up with also Porter, and Green gives you that. He's very athletic, and he has good handles. He's got good footwork. He can create his own shot. He's still kind of developing his jump shot, but I mean, at the end of the day, you get 2 guards in a young backcourt that can develop together, and the Rockets have something there. I think Green is 2. 3 is the Cavs, and according to pretty much everybody that I've read, is they're looking for a godfather of a haul, for the number 3 pick.
Mm-hmm.
And according to Woj and a bunch of other people, is if that doesn't happen, they are taking Evan Mobley, USC, and this is the pick for me. You lost out on Joel Embiid, 3-4 years ago now?
That was
that was the year with Wiggins and Jabari.
Okay. Yeah.
And kind of a fun fact is, I've kind of read is, well, centers usually don't win you the championship. I will say this, you are absolutely correct, but Joel Embiid is the best player on that Sixers team. Yes, he can't get it done, but he can protect the rim. He rebounds well, good post game, and is developing his jump shot. Mobley already pretty much has all of that. He can create his shot. He can rebound, athletic, great shot blocker. And the way I look at the Sixers, all they need is probably a couple more players, and they could go to the NBA Finals. And Embiid is that cornerstone player, is what I'm getting at. Anthony Davis, power forward center. He's a cornerstone player. Actually, really, you can arguably say that if it wasn't for AD, the Lakers wouldn't have won that championship. So for all you people that say, a center or forward can't help you win, bullshit, because we can have a conversation.
Shaq.
Yep.
Hakeem Olajuwon. Bill Russell. These are some of the greatest players that have ever played the game. Yep. And they're all center forwards.
We can have a conversation.
And they may have not even been the best player on their team.
No.
But the team needed them to win the championship.
What I mean, it's a cornerstone. It's a cornerstone piece. It's a piece that's going to give you a double-double any given night.
Yep.
So that's what I believe the pick is. 4 is the Raptors. I think this is where they're going to go guard, and they're going to prepare for life for Lowry, and I think the pick here is Suggs.
Yeah.
He's an unselfish player. He's very, very gritty, which fits that Raptors team to a core. He can shoot, drive, and he does all the little things that you want. I think Suggs is the pick here at 4. Now this is where it's going to get interesting, with the Magic and with as we go down. Is this the Magic? They're not a bad team, but they traded away Aaron Gordon and Vooch, and I think this pick is going to consist of they're going to get some type of a forward. And here I have Scotty Barnes from Florida State.
Yep.
This is they're comparing him to a Draymond and Pascal Siakam. Draymond is not a bad player by any means. He just can't shoot the damn basketball. And Siakam, I have liked him for the past actually 2-3 seasons now. So I think Barnes will be, and it's a Florida connection. He went to Florida State people. The next one is kind of interesting. It's UConn. No, I'm sorry, not UConn. Well, I just gave away the school, but it's going to be James Bouknight. He is a guard from UConn, obviously, and he's going to the Thunder. I honestly was thinking about this. This is where Kuminga could go to as well, because they don't have that type of player that can slash to the hoop really outside of Shai Alexander. But with Bouknight is this, the big thing was his shooting ability, but I think he kind of, after seeing his combine and all the other stuff, I think that completely went out the window. With Shai and Bouknight is this, you get another dangerous combo guard play, just like what I'm referring to Houston is, Shai can pass the ball out, and James can create his own shot. He's a good catch and catch and shoot player. I think this is the pick, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they kind of went small forward in this situation as well. So number 7 is the Warriors. And looking at the Warriors, and if they keep this pick, and actually this, I'm hoping the Cavs are in, if they go back, is in the 7 to 10 range. I think this pick is going to be Wagner from the team up north. And the only reason why I'm saying this, I could have said Kuminga again, but he's still developing his jump shot. Wagner, he's 6'11", and he can shoot the 3. He can stretch the floor, and that's what Golden State likes to do. They like to shoot that 3, run up and down the court.
Yeah.
I think this would be a great pick for the Warriors. 8, the Magic again, and this is where they could definitely go guard in this situation, just for the fact their guard play is extremely, extremely weak. I just don't know exactly who that could be, but I'm thinking maybe Moses Moody or Kuminga in this pick. If I had to flip a coin, it's hard. It's hard because Orlando does need a lot of things. And I would go Kuminga here. I would truly go Kuminga. So, and then number 8 is the Kings, and this is probably where I would go with Moody. Especially if they're trying to move on from Beal as well. I think this would kind of be of a good situation for Moody. He has the ability to catch and shoot. He's a good playmaker. He could pass the ball really well, and he's 6'9". He's 6'9", and he has a defensive skill set that is very, very unique as well. I think this would be the pick here. And pick 10 with Memphis is, I think it's going to be a forward. I really don't know. It's just hard.
Yeah.
Another name to kind of keep your eye out is going to be Davion Mitchell from Baylor. I know a lot of the scouts don't like older players because they feel like if you're not in the league after the first or second year, there's something wrong with you. I think he was a big part of Baylor winning the national championship this past year. Plays defense, can shoot, developing still. But I think this player, Mitchell, he gives a team or I should say, he's a player that is willing to do pretty much anything you want him to do. So I could see Memphis doing that as well. A guard, and you can move him to forward if we really want to. He could play defense. And I'm not going to get anything outside of top 10 because I'll be completely honest with you. That would be a pain in my ass. I'm not going to do that. But kind of going back is, I think Mobley is a Cleveland Cavalier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that pick. That's who I selected, or I guess.
In the poll, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. I can't remember now. But yeah, and then I did want to say, as far as your comment goes about scouts not liking older players coming out of college because they've been there for more than 2 years or whatever. Jordan Bohannon, I got some bad news for you. You've been in Iowa for like 9 years, I'm pretty sure.
That dude probably still has eligibility for all I know. My gosh, man, I remember that team. I'm like, Garza, you've been in there for like 20, dude. You look like you're a 40-year-old man.
True.
But I think tonight's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I just think whatever the Cavs do, I mean, if they go Suggs at 3, that means Sexton's gone. Yes. I think we'll know for a fact on what they'll do with Sexton tonight. I probably won't watch the whole first round because I'm old and I need to go to bed and get ready for work in the morning. But I am going to watch from pick 1 all the way probably to pick 15 just so I have an idea. But if the Cavs get Mobley, I expect Sexton to be in a Cavs jersey next year along with that whatever extension they're going to give him. On top of, people are saying, about the whole Allen thing is apparently they already have a plan in place since Mobley can already stretch the floor. They're thinking that they could use him how the Pelicans did with AD and DeMarcus Cousins for that season. Mm-hmm. Although I truly think that Allen's going to be gone, in a couple years anyways, but that's what they're thinking of the plan is. I want Mobley. I like him. I really don't think you could pass up on another generational center who fits today's NBA mold. You missed on Embiid, which is quite understandably, I understand, because of his back issues. I just don't think you can miss twice again. That's all I'm saying on that. If they trade down and they go get some player I have never heard of, I will need bail money because I will probably be in jail. And I mean, on that note, hopefully Altman and Gilbert have some type of plan.
Yeah. And really, that as fans, that's all we can really hope for is that our front office has a plan, because they're not going to listen to what we want. Like, they're not there to please us. They're there to succeed in their personal lives, personal and professional.
They have a job to do because we might have some bullshit jobs that but at the same time so do they, meaning that they're on thin ice.
Yeah. So really all we can do is hope that they make the best decision possible that they can for the team.
Agreed.
And we'll see what happens tonight by 8. Well, hold on.
I'd say 8:30.
Yeah, I would say 8:32 because I know they're gonna drag the first pick out the entire time limit.
Yeah, pretty much. That just annoys me. But I mean, today's podcast, was kind of just getting out, who we think, who the Cavs should get at number 3, and on top of, I kind of went through 1 through 10. I mean, that was kind of spontaneous of me, but
that's okay.
A lot's going to happen between now and when the Cavs pick at the same time, so nothing is set in stone. All I'm hearing is that if they don't get a godfather of a deal, they're taking Mobley. And then we'll go from there. I mean, free agency starts in a few days as well, but they can't sign for another 2 weeks. But we'll see. I mean, I don't expect any free agency to come, but they have a lot to figure out at the same time, financial wise, which, I could get into at a later date, but I mean, that could be a whole damn episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I have nothing else more to say for everyone tonight. Again, this was short, brief, to the point. I know next week, we could go over, what happens in the draft. We'll do a catch up with the tribe and any training camp news. I mean, it's really more for me because I have a quarterback competition and your quarterback is already settled. But yeah, no, I mean that's all I got. I mean, thank you guys again. Let's see, what the Cavs do, and if you guys haven't already, go like our Facebook page, along with Stampeding Dogs on YouTube, then on Twitter, Dogs Stampeding. I mean, that's all I got, my man.
You know who else has a quarterback competition?
What?
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you talking about what he said? Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
messed up, man.
Bro.
That sounds like he's constipated.
I mean, it's probably not healthy.
It's
Actually,
not probably.
definitely not
It is,
healthy.
guys.
It's definitely not healthy. But I saw that and I started dying laughing, dude. I was like, I mean, at least he's got confidence.
Yeah, I mean, for everyone who doesn't know what JR is talking about, it's what Minshew said to a reporter about taking a number two. Well, really not taking a number two.
Yeah,
So
because he has no time for number two. That I'm pretty sure that was what he said. Was he hasn't taken a crap in weeks because he has no time for number two. And I was like, I like the saying. I'm gonna use that. But yeah, I mean, that's all we got. Just quick little episode about Rodgers, some baseball news, and of course, best NBA draft is tonight, and so we had to talk about that. And Cleveland, we got the number 3 pick. Oh well, I actually was gonna say something, and then I just.
My bad.
Nah, you're good. Oh yeah, we can talk about that at a later date, actually. Yeah.
You want to text me it? I guess. I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, I got you. But no. As far as today's episode goes, appreciate you all listening. Like Aaron said, Dog Stampeding on Twitter and Stampeding Dogs on Facebook and YouTube. Subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, please.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah, help get us out there a little bit. We appreciate all the attention and criticism that we can get, whether it's good or bad. We don't care. We'll listen to it and take it with a grain of salt, as the saying goes.
Yeah, I don't like salt, so that's fine. That's fine.
I'm done.
As a wrap-up point, I've known JR for
almost 14.
Well, I don't know. It's been a long time.
Only 14. Because right before high school, which freshman year would have been 14 years old for me. So 13. So 14 or 15 years.
It's been a really long time. So yeah. I mean, I feel like he's not new to anything what I say, but sometimes I do surprise him. So I mean, hey,
it did catch me off guard a little for as much as you eat that you don't like salt.
I don't like salt at all, guys. So we are the Stampeding Dogs, everybody. Everyone have a good night. Go Cavs. And I will be talking to you throughout the draft.
Yes, sir.
Later, man.
See ya.